First, I'd like to ask that back table to put their phones on vibrate and get it over with. Thank you. A couple of people, we got some of the older guys here this evening, so we're going to try to make this really quick. I know it's getting a little warm here. And we're going to fall asleep. Matt Masolo, we got to recognize you this evening. He'll be speaking later, but Matt's our database. He runs on about 8 gigabyte. He's got every story for everybody. He remembers every detail of everything that happened that year, and the rest of us don't have a clue anymore. So he's our guy. He's our go-to guy. Thank you, Matt. We've got Jim Zivich here also from that team. Jim's our connector. He keeps all the players connected via email. He's one of the most valuable people in our little group today. Thank you very much, Jim. We've also got Vince O'Neill from the baseball team. You'll hear from him in just a few minutes also. Thank you, Vince. We've also got Tony Luna. Tony, could you stand up, please, just for a minute? Tony's about 20 pounds heavier than what he played high school football. He weighed in at about 145, 150, and in one of the CIF playoff games, he took on a 210-pound running back, knocked the kid out of bounds, knocked the air out of him, hit him so hard, and I know you're not going to believe this, but I heard the referee say it. The referee ran up and said, "Hey, young man, don't hit so hard." This was a football game, but that's how Tony Luna played the game, kind of like Palomao does today. Mark Groff, Raul Camacho, John Mueller, Brother Paul, from the bottom of our hearts, we have to thank you for this evening and what this evening means to some of the older people. We're all kind of getting to the age where we don't really shop for mountain bikes, surfboards, rollerblades, and tennis rackets anymore. We're starting to look for deals for hearing aids, orthopedic beds, and the best doctor for hair and hip transplants. We're also at the age where you get woken up from your afternoon nap and a 3-year-old granddaughter's beating you on the head with a spiny little dinosaur toy. And you wake up and the blood's dripping and the first thing in your mind is, W2EF, girl, what's going on here? But you ask her, "Avery, why are you hitting Grandpa on the head with a dinosaur?" "Well, Grandpa, it's a mommy dinosaur. And your head looks like a dinosaur egg, and I wonder what made a dinosaur now." So that's kind of the age that we're getting to today. But what this night really means to us, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, it gives us one night when the aches and pains go away, the responsibilities disappear for a few moments. We're transformed back into 17-year-olds again, and enjoy the memories and the pure joy of life as teenagers when for a short time we were kings of the world. Thank you, guys. We appreciate it, and the team appreciates it so much too. Thank you. Who am I introducing? Larry Montag. Larry wasn't the pep rally guy. He wasn't the guy who was going to stand up at the team meeting and give a rah-rah speech. That wasn't his deal. He wasn't the first guy through the hoop at halftime. He never gave an impassioned team lecture and never created any issues within the framework of the team or classroom. Larry is very content to be in the background. All 3 coaches described him as quiet, polite, dependable, a gentleman on or off the campus. On the other hand, all 3 talked about his terribly competitive attitude. He's one of the most intense competitors you'll ever meet. With him on the team, according to Coach Curry, we were a better team. We as players knew that and appreciated that competitive side of Larry Montag. We knew what he was capable of doing. One of the coaches even said, "We were lucky Larry didn't go to Buena or Ventura." And at that time, they were the powerhouses in the area, not like it is today. Larry's game, he wouldn't come up and knock the crap out of you. Larry's game was finesse and speed, even though he had his share of caused fumbles. If you look at that big photo against the wall over there where Larry set up at, you'll get to see what his game was all about, and we got to enjoy that for a couple of years. You'll count 9 guys in the background and Larry off and running. He made some very, very big key plays that never get noticed for us in our championship run. 4th and goal, we're on our own 2-yard line, we're on defense, and we're against one of the biggest running backs in the league. They score, we lose, we're out. They don't score, we win, and we continue to play. Larry tackles this guy out of bounds, and we win the game. Doesn't make it into the newspaper. Agoura, we're behind 2-0 in probably one of the worst sporting games you've ever seen at a Bonaventure event. It was awful. It was the ugliest game we've ever been involved in. We're behind 2-0, 2 minutes to go. Larry comes off the bench, his legs wrapped like a mummy from a very severe ankle sprain. We run a draw play to Larry, he runs 50 yards, we win the game. In the league championship game, Larry scored our only touchdown. In the first round of the CIF playoffs where Tony Luna made his infamous run, Larry blocked the other team's extra point to put us into overtime. Things like that is what Larry was capable of doing. And stories I like to share, Larry made me a star. Larry put me in the Hall of Fame because of his pass catching ability. One play, roll out to the right, this is in a CIF playoff game, and I throw a floater up in the air. We're on the 19-yard line. And the way my dad puts it, when he tells the story, yeah, Tom, I saw you throw the ball. I ran up and grabbed a hot dog, came back down, and by that time Larry was catching the ball. Larry, and I could see the ball fading out of bounds. It was going to be incomplete. Larry jumped up in the air, fingertip catch, 2 feet in bounds, just like the pros do it, and scores a touchdown. And of course, in the paper, I get credit for a 19-yard touchdown pass. I love this game. Later on in the same game, we're on the 50-yard line, same play, another floater, only this time the defender was in position. He starts to catch the ball. Larry comes up, rips the ball out of his hands, turns around and runs the rest of the 30 yards for a touchdown. I get credit for a 50-yard touchdown pass. I love this game. Larry led the league in interceptions, and he scored 22 touchdowns. He was just one of the greatest players you'll ever see at Bonaventure. And one of the track stories, Larry wasn't on the track team. He was on the CIF championship baseball team. He got invited to come run at the track meet for just one meet, and that was where all the schools come together for the league meet. He borrows a pair of running shoes, gets in the 100-yard dash, wins the 100-yard dash, sticks around long enough to get his little trophy deal, and then leaves to go to baseball practice. And what a great story that is for Larry and borrowed shoes. But that's how Larry played his game, speed and finesse. Larry was All-League football 2 times, All-League baseball 2 times, All-CIF in football, most valuable player of the CIF championship football team. And he was a member of the 1970 CIF baseball team. But you won't ever hear him tell you that. He's one of the most humblest people you'll ever meet. And I've spent about 30 years hanging around him, fishing, surfing, mountain biking, and he never talked about any of the awards he ever got. Which brought me to the closing statement. Padre Pio, who was a guy who could be in 2 places at one time, once said, "A field of corn, the tallest and proudest are empty. The others, the humblest ones, close to the ground. The ones where nobody notices, they are laden with seeds." Larry was and still is humble, quiet, and the best at whatever he takes on. And I'm honored to introduce him as one of the best athletes to ever walk the halls at St. Bonaventure. Ladies and gentlemen, Larry Montag.